It is officially Super Bowl Sunday, and while most people will be watching for the matchup between the Niners and Kansas City Chiefs and that J-Lo Shakira halftime show, there's also the political matchup.
It's some of the wealthiest men in politics. MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle has more.
Sunday's Super Bowl will be the ultimate face-off, pitting the 49ers against the Chiefs and President Trump against Democratic presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg. Both men shelling out $10 million each for political ads that will air during the big game. How big of a deal is that?
It's a big deal. We have not seen presidential ads really in the Super Bowl ever. This is sort of unprecedented.
Super Bowl ads are pricey, say advertising insiders, but they just might be worth the investment.
We have a president who is under siege from all sides, and you've got Mike Bloomberg, who is a candidate that joined the race late and has a lot of work to do in terms of catching up to raise awareness. And there's no better place to raise awareness when you have an audience of close to 100 million people watching at one time.
But making an ad that resonates with a massive audience is not easy. Just ask Jason DeLand. He's overseen some of the most memorable Super Bowl commercials, including the Budweiser series featuring the friendship between a horse and a dog.
I don't know if Super Bowl ads are intended to change people's minds, and I don't think that that is probably the right course to take if you're a brand or a politician. It's about entertaining people, and if you entertain people well, then just maybe you could change their mind.
According to veteran campaign advisors, figuring out what to say in these ads is as important as figuring out what not to say.
People are there to watch sports. They're not there to watch politics. And so to inject politics into that is a big risk. And I think the other thing that you run the risk of is that the audience is so large, you are going to be potentially winning some of your own supporters and potentially ginning up the people on the other side.
Politics and football have had a complicated relationship. Case in point, quarterback Colin Kaepernick's decision to take a knee at games to protest mistreatment of minorities, a move that has divided public opinion. Traditionally, the most successful Super Bowl commercials cause audiences not to think, but instead to feel. Or laugh.
You're playing like Betty White out there. That's not what your girlfriend said.
Or sing. Will the political ads in this year's Super Bowl be game changers for voters? Super Bowl viewers we spoke with aren't so sure.
I don't consider myself a very political person, so I will be paying more attention to the Doritos commercials.
Super Bowl should be the Super Bowl. We shouldn't be dealing with the election then.
But one thing's for certain, they'll be watching.
I watch them. I mean, why should I turn them off just it's only 60 seconds.
Stephanie Ruhle, NBC News, New York.
The game or the commercials, guys, real quick. Which one are you more interested in?
Halftime show.
Halftime show. There it is.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.